Welcome. This is Stephane Roche, the complicated author, writing my life away, episode 1. Here we are. I've been doing a lot of promos on all of social media platforms. Here we finally are. The first episode, the pilot episode, complicated poetry. We will be discussing the 4 aspects of complicated poetry. The purpose of these shows is when I put out a book, publishing a book, after the book is published, I plan on putting out Writing My Life Away season 1, 2, 3, 4. No matter how many books I come out with, it's always going to have a season with it. And we're going to go over the 4 aspects of the book and by chapter. So if the book has 14 chapters, it's going to be 14 episodes. 10 chapters, 10 episodes for the season. So some seasons may be longer than the other, but welcome aboard to this journey. This season is going to have 15 episodes, 15 poems. We're going to talk about it all. What inspired me to be an author was my time at Kane University. I went to Kane University to obtain my Bachelor of Arts degree in English writing. It was a phenomenal journey that I went through at Kane, because I went from wanting to be a teacher, then went from wanting to be a teacher into writing, English writing. It all started with courses I was taking. I was taking a course with my professor that I challenged a lot of his, teaching and his lecturing. It wasn't bad. It was great. He's awesome. What I was challenging is the wording on a lot of the poems and the novels. And he said, you know what? If you think you could do better, write something over the weekend. Come back, hand it over to me, and I'll look at it and I can tell you if this is something, I'm like, nah. At that time, I really wasn't into writing that much, a little bit, but this is where it got good. So I spend the weekend investing so much time, blood, sweat, and tears, writing this small pinch novel. And I felt so accomplished over the weekend. So I think it was on a Tuesday, I came in, I handed him the paperwork. Then that Thursday, he said, you know what? Something special about you. That was a great piece of work that you put out. And at first, I'm like, okay, whatever, you're just saying that. But he was like, no, it was really good, well structured. The beginning, the middle, the end was well put together, and I was flattered. I'm like, okay, this is amazing. That's when I started to explore myself as an author. One thing about being an author, something I wanted so bad, and I'm able to establish it. I always wanted some type of signature nickname. So today I'm called Stephane Roche, the complicated author. But wait, the reason why I got the name is that my aunt, Mia Jean-Baptiste, I'm forever grateful, Auntie, I love you for this. She came over for a gathering. It was all of us, my aunts. I think my uncle was here. I'm not sure. It was my aunt, uncle, and we're all making jokes, typical stuff. She approaches me. She said, "You're a complicated person. You just love doing complicated things, and you're just a complicated person. You can't never just think normal and be normal like everybody. Why are you so complicated?" At first, I got offended. I said, "Whoa." Then I realized, I'm like, no, you know what? You are right. I am a complicated person. Everything that I do is complicated. The way I think is complicated. It's amazing. It's just the way, the structure and everything. It's just, okay. I like where this is going. So the way I went about it, down the line, I researched complicated to see if this was taken. I'm like, what? I snatch it up, patent it, and copyright it. Everything. It's just amazing. So my sister comes over, brings her dog, which this was another drive to my inspiration of complicated poetry. So she brings her dog, right? Look at that little thing, he's so cute. He's staring at me the whole time I'm writing complicated poetry. I'm writing a poem, I'm trying to write this down, trying to focus, and he just staring at me. But it just gave, for some weird reason, spiritually, it just gave me the drive to just keep writing and writing and writing and writing, just deeply activate the inner strength that I didn't know I have in this so-called writing. So for that, also, I'm forever thankful for the dog for inspiring me. So those are the main things that truly inspire me to write complicated poetry. Just being able to find my niche and find my place in the writing industry. Writing is something I love and something I will always have a passion for. It's a priceless dream, right? Writing is a priceless dream that I will never stop doing. The psychological and philosophical effect of complicated poetry. The psychological effect bring happiness, escape from depression, which I ran into a couple of times in my life. With me, on a psychological aspect, it helps me escape reality and be able to create my own universe, my own world that I have control of. I think it's a beautiful thing to put in that aspect. It brings self-joy, self-happiness, just always carries a positive mind state for me. Complicated poetry also digs in to the type of talent that I'm pushing for. And complicated poetry defines the inner self on a philosophical aspect. Complicated poetry defines the inner self of one's greatness. One of the lines, life is like an obstacle course. Greatness is patient. It's something that you cannot force. Complicated people write complicated things. What I'm saying is greatness is something you cannot force yourself into. Greatness is something that you wake up every morning and you're disciplined and you're willing to do anything and go above and beyond for. So as you're in the process of greatness, you got to be patient. You have to be patient. And life is an obstacle course. Because through life, you're going to go through plenty of phases where you think you may be great at something, but that's not your calling. So that line specifically, life is like an obstacle course. Greatness is patient, is something that you cannot force. Again, find your greatness, stick with it, protect it, fight for it, and love it. Find your greatness, stick with it, protect it, fight for it, and love it. That's just the way it is. Also, it writing also helped me build my confidence on who I am today. It's like I graduated, the way I graduated to me was like a perfect package for me, because a lot of people, right, they will come up to me and like, oh, I went to school for this and I didn't even want to do it and I just did it to put a smile in my. I went to school for writing and I took a chance of like, so it can be considered a vague, or unreliable major to graduate from. But I did my research, and no matter what, at the end of the day, I plan on being a great writer, and I can humbly say that I'm in the process of doing that. Complicated poetry is based on the mind state of a typical everyday person walking on this earth, on how they think, and is in a process of activating one's greatness. Complicated poetry is based on a typical person's mindset. They're in a process of activating one's greatness. Complicated poetry, complicated people write complicated things.